Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast where we try to figure it all out. With your hosts, Brandon, Collin, and Aaron. On this week's show, what's the deal with Myst? Ahoy!
Ahoy!
How's it going? Hello!
Going well. What's up?
Pretty good.
Right.
Yeah? Yeah, how's the grass?
Uh-oh.
Oh, good. Good
Not
sound.
good.
Sorry.
That's not a good.
Changing topics quickly.
Yeah.
No, it's honestly not bad. I just have I've complained about this 1,000 times, but I've got 3 fields, 1 main water source, and just little old me to mow everything. Mowing two of the fields isn't like bad, but it's the baseball field that just takes so long, and it's a different kind of grass that trying to grow in, because during baseball season it's completely different grass than besides what it normally is, and so I got to calculate to that, and it just takes so long to do. I think I got up there at like 11 today, and I got done at like 5. So it just takes a really, really long time to take care, because I got to get the one mower out, and then I got to mow what I can, and then I got to put it back, and I got to get the other one. So thankfully it's raining here, so that will help out tremendously. But I am sunburnt. I am a little dehydrated a little bit, but other than that, we're doing good.
So you're being dad is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, Dad's one of my fields out of the 3 looks like Dad's grass. The other 2 not so much. So it's a constant jostle of headache that I'm dealing with. But yeah, other than that, no, that's what I've been doing literally all day. Today was just mow constantly. So
Yeah.
I'll put my earbuds in, and I'll just listen to music, and I will just drive for hours. Just annoyingly in circles, but I will.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah. So that's what I've been up to today, honestly. So, but yeah.
What's the preferred mowing playlist include?
Oh, jeez.
I do need to know this.
I don't know if you do. So Spotify.
Oh, anyway, next.
So
okay.
It depends. It depends on the mood. So I have.
Depends on which field he's mowing, how happy he's doing.
How
at the
happy.
time, right?
No. So my accumulative collection. If you look at my Spotify playlist, it'll be like little blippets of, oh, Aaron was definitely in a country mood when you put this on his liked playlist, or oh, Aaron was in a Phil Collins mood when he was, because there'll be times I'll be sitting there like thinking of a song, and like I'll find it, and then if you know anything about Spotify, there'll be like the songs that are like this song that you have selected on the playlist. And so therefore a song that will play just like the song I liked will pop on. So I'm like, well, I got to clearly add that to the list. And so there'll be like a weird influx of certain music. So if we look at what I have now, on at least just looking at the top list, weirdly have some Florida Georgia Line. I have a Barbershop Quartet, Starbomb, Ninja Sex Party, George Strait, weirdly, Shabuzi. Who else is on here? Jack Black.
There you go.
And then it jumps to a playlist of The Greatest Showman. Then it has a few songs from what is that? Les Miserables. Then it has a few songs from Hamilton. And then
there you go.
And then it has a few songs on here from the Oklahoma State marching band.
Of course.
Followed
It's mandatory.
a few random songs. Bon Jovi's on here. Skillet. Some T-Pain.
There you go.
And then so that's just like the first like 40.
Wow. Hey,
I have a lot of songs that I'll be sitting there listening to the radio or something on some social media thing will pop up like, ooh, I like that song, and then I add it, and then it goes crazy from there.
I had to retrain my. I spent all day today retraining my Amazon playlist thing, right?
Ooh.
So like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what in the world was going on, but I was driving out to my friend's house yesterday. I was going to go play some music out there, right? And so obviously you got to listen to some rockin' jams as you're going, right?
Obviously.
So I turn on the Apple Music thing, or not Apple Music, the Amazon Music thing, right? And there's like a thing on there that is just like like based on the stuff that you normally pick, it's like a soundtrack. It's called like My Soundtrack or something. I don't remember. And it like just puts that kind of music on shuffle, right? So I'm loading up the car yesterday. I get in the car, I get my thing set up, I hit the deal, and like Billie Eilish music comes on. And I was like, what in the heck is this? And the reason I thought about this, because then I skipped it. I was like, something's wrong here. And then that Shabuzi thing, I've never heard of this person before. Don't know what it is. Didn't want it. I didn't even give it time because it was not Social Distortion, mostly because that's what I wanted.
Fair enough.
And so when you're expecting that and you get this other thing, I was very distraught. So I've been today like playing things, being like, okay, I want this and this, like finding things. No, remember, this is me. This is what I want to hear. Yes. I need like random 90s punk songs. That's what I need. Just all of them. Like, I don't care. Like, no. I'm skipping the Green Day stuff. Go to like, all the crazy stuff. That's what I want. Like, I want.
Fair enough.
So
it's amazing how quickly those playlists get thrown off. Like,
it's weird. It was really good, right? I don't want Billie Eilish. Give me some more Real Big Fish, right? That's what we need for rocking out in the car.
I will say I went from who was I listening to? Dadgummit. I got to go back to my playlist, y'all. So I can have nice things.
Anyway, while you're looking, one thing that I noticed that Aaron and my playlist seems to have in common, right, is the car music, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's important that it's like singable, right? I need to sing along with, especially when I'm going to band practice. It's like a warm up, right? Get going. But like, I think it's very, whenever you're driving the car, summer, window down, right? Really annoying music, really loud, singing along is very important. So I feel like Aaron and my playlists have some of this in common, because a lot of the artists that he mentioned that I know of, like a lot of that stuff's very singable. Right,
Mm-hmm.
Sing along. I'm envisioning Aaron driving the lawnmower doing the Phil Collins like air drum fill too. That's really the first image I have.
That has happened.
I mean, I would be disappointed if it didn't happen. Let's be honest.
I will say I'm partially proud of this, but it went from a jump from Eminem's Rap God to Billy Joel's Piano Man. And I don't know how that happened, but it was today. I was just going around because I have the infield has to be taken care of differently than the outfield. So I have to go get a different mower because I might have not mowed it a while. So in my transition to getting the different mower, Rap God came on, and not gonna lie, I was busting it up, doing what I do. And then after 6 minutes, which I completely forgot how long that song is, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm good. No one else is around. It's just me up here, just vibing, doing what I do. And then the opening sequence of Piano Man came up, and I'm like, ooh, do I have enough in me to do this? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, good.
But this brings up an important question that I heard on the radio the other day, because there is some times where I actually do listen to like it's a sports talk radio that's out of Tulsa or Oklahoma City,
Mhm.
and they asked the question about like commuting to work in some way, shape, or form. In the morning music compared to the evening music, what is there a tangible shift of in the morning, I want something that like gets me going, that's like pump up, that's like loud, but in the evening, I want to listen to something a little bit slower, a little bit calmer. But some people on the radio are that they talked about this. It's like, well, I actually like it reverse because in the morning I want to wake up, I want to listen to something like soft, and then in the evening I want to crank it up. So, what is y'all's thoughts on that?
Oh, that's a good question.
See,
I don't know if I've ever consciously thought about this before, but I feel like I want it like on the radio or like music in general. Like when I put it
yeah,
on,
just
like,
music in general, because they talked about like some people who do listen to the music like on the radio going to work. Some people listen to the morning talk show stuff, which
oh yeah,
also counts.
I
But
don't like the talk show stuff. I
yeah,
want
but
less talking.
it was just the difference of, do you prefer loud amp up music in the morning, or just something that's like more upbeat,
Yeah,
as compared to the afternoon when like you're driving home or something, when you kind of like just want to wind down.
I think I don't really like listening to like calm, relaxing music in the car.
Yeah.
Right. I think like in the morning when I go to work, I want it like upbeat, like, and then when I come home, I also want upbeat music. Like I don't really like calm, relaxing music in the car. I've tried that before, listen to like NPR stuff, and
Yeah.
like it's too relaxing for driving.
Yeah.
Right. Like for me personally, right? Like I like to be like, just some energy. Now I don't always want like the same level of energy. Like I don't always want like, like heavy metal or something, but like I do generally want pep in my
Yeah.
driving soundtrack, right? I think that's important for me personally. I like singing along to that song that's on the radio. Boom, there you go. Deep cut, ladies and gentlemen, for that one. I think that's what I like. I don't know. That's what I like the most, I think.
I mean,
Okay.
I haven't heard either of you really talk about the definitive greatest driving song. Anyone as voted by Top Gear.
Anything from Bob and Tom?
No. Top Gear. They did back in was it one of the early seasons. Remember they put out the call for the greatest driving song of all time.
I do vaguely recall this.
Okay, I think it was something by Queen. I don't remember.
Yeah, no, I don't.
But
that sounds about right though.
Yeah. It depends. I mean, I find myself when I'm driving for long distances, I don't really like calming music either. It needs to be peppy, I will say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For my commute, because I drive an hour to work almost every single day, and during school year, it's literally every single day.
Yeah.
That my brain's kind of weird, because sometimes like depending where I left off the day before, like I'll just let it continue. But other times it's like, nope, I gotta start from the beginning. And my brain gets weird whenever it like my playlist shuffles, because then like I know what I'm expecting in the next song coming up, and I'm like, no, I don't like that. No,
Ooh, yeah.
I don't like it on shuffle. Don't like that.
I don't
at
like
all.
shuffle. I don't like shuffle. I Amazon does this now. Like I haven't tried it in a while, but like you can't play an album, right? It was like shuffling the album, and there are no, that is illegal, right? As a card carrying member of the CD Kids Club, right? Like like when you're listening to like a whole album, right? Especially in the car, because it comes up more often because it just goes back to back to back to back, right? The song order is important, right? Like whenever I listen to some songs sometimes on like Spotify or Amazon, like I will start humming the next song that's on like the CD, right? And I'm like, oh no, and then it goes to like something.
Yeah.
Your brain knows what's next. So there's definitely some that like some I don't care because they weren't like big heavy rotation things for me, but like there are definitely certain ones where like I don't like to listen to just like I don't like the shuffle because there's they need to go. My brain says they're in this order and they need to be in that order. That's where they need to stay.
Yeah,
otherwise it's no good.
Well, and even some albums, they're designed with the intro and outros to kind of match one another too, so there's that as well of you don't kind of get that seamless transition between the songs when they're jumping around all over the place.
Yeah, I had the big mistake of, because there are like playlists and like whole, I guess, CD worth of artists on Spotify, but like listening to things like, for example, I might have been listening to the soundtrack of the Book of Mormon the other day, which is absolutely hilarious. But if you listen to each one individually and like it, they don't save in order. They save in the order of which you like it. And so if you go off the playlist, the songs go in order. And I made this mistake the other day when I was listening to Phantom of the Opera, because I was like, you know what? I just want to like just belt it on the way up there. I got an hour. I just want to let it go. And so, but I saved them not in the right order.
Oh,
and
no.
So, like, and so it was like Music of the Night. And then it was like the Chandelier song afterwards. Why did you do that to me? And so then I had to go back and literally like the whole playlist just so I can listen to things in order. It was so annoying. Because
that is quite
like,
annoying.
Oh, yeah, this song is next, and then it wasn't, and I was so mad.
Oh no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I learned that over time. But if you look at my playlist, there are some of the songs that are still back out of order from like when I was.
Heck, is reordering the playlist. That's important. That's an important feature. That needs to be in there. I don't know why you would not want that. Right? Because some days, you just got to get it in the right spot. So, there you go. This is like air drumming mowing. This is great.
I mean, I do have to be careful because I am literally out in the middle of nowhere sometimes, and I'm like, I forget that volume vocals carry.
That's true.
And so I get after it every once in a while. But there's I think I was like mowing during school year, and like the kids had just got out, and it's like, oh geez, I probably shouldn't sing as loud, especially on some of these songs with like T-Pain coming up next.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, you gotta like
wait.
Self-edit.
So I have a question for you real quick, since Collin is indisposed. The game Myst.
Yes.
What the heck is that game about? So I have that on my stupid Steam wish list ever since I got Steam. Okay. It's been like the first thing on there because it's always like $1.50. And then I watched some like playthrough person for 5 minutes, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. So what is Myst about? Did we talk about this before? Because I am kerfuffled beyond measure.
If we did, it was a very, very long time ago, so it's deserving of a revisit.
I will also add that I have an emulator on my phone to play Myst.
Do you really?
Yes. And
no way.
Gotta be real. Playing Myst on a tiny little phone screen is not that great.
I mean, yeah, probably not.
It doesn't quite have the same impact, and clicking on things is a little hard.
That's true. I was wondering if you asked this because I think recently, like Riven just got like remastered and re-released, which is like the sequel to Myst.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there are two, aren't there?
I think there's more than two. I can't remember exactly how many there are, but there's a lot. Yeah, so it's like, well, it's a puzzle game, right? You're trying to like solve a mystery. There's a dude trapped in the book, right? And also two of his sons trapped in other books.
Okay.
And I think like the implication is that like one or both of the sons are villains, right? And they were trapped in other books because of their nefariety. Like dad put them in there.
Gotcha.
Because they were trying to like do something. I don't remember exactly. It's been a very, very long time since I played Myst. I don't remember the plot exactly. But yeah, you're trying to solve like I think you're trying to rescue. I think you can end up rescuing the dad guy, right? Like, because he is the guy that like made all of the stuff, and like he's the one that like built the thing and made the books. And there's like something about ages. I don't remember exactly, but like, yeah, that's pretty much it. They're traps, and you're trying to free the guy. I don't know if there's like more than one ending or not, but I'm not sure.
I think there is, because I remember, because you're trying to free the brothers, right? And you can get free either one or the other, right? Or is it something? I don't remember.
I don't remember. I haven't played that game in a billion years. I did watch a playthrough of it, like a Let's Play thing, but that was also probably 5 years ago now. But confirmed. The game has several endings depending on player action.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, depending on which book you give the brother to, or which brother you give the book to. That was not how sentences work, Brandon. What the heck? Can make a big thing here.
Mambo dog face to the banana patches.
Yes. But like there's like all the different like on the island, right? Each little place takes you to an area and you have to get a page, right? And the more pages you get, like the more the guy can tell you about. So if you add him to the book, right? And he'll tell you more information. So you have to like get more pages. Because it's like when he's talking to you, it's like all like staticky and like cutting out, like.
I remember that part. Yeah.
And it's like really weird. And then like you can get more pages and it gives you more information. You have to go to each of the, I don't remember how many different places, but there's like the lighthouse thing and like the ship thing and like the rocket deal and the observatory doodad. There's a whole bunch of different things. And like, you have to go through and solve all those puzzles and stuff to get the pages. Treehouse level is, of course, the coolest one visually, in my opinion. Just going to go ahead and stake that right now.
Fair enough.
Treehouse level is the coolest. It's very visually striking because I can still remember what it looks like, and I can't remember a lot of the other ones. So something about the treehouse level really pulled at me.
It's just something that popped up on YouTube. And then there was another guy that I watched. It's like, what are some of the top video games that you remember for your childhood? And like, I remembered a few of them, but I also remember mostly watching you play a lot of those games and thinking, therefore, I could play those games. But then I remember I am a child and I'm really bad at like problem solving games. And so I was like, this game's stupid. So I'd like never picked it up since. But then trying to watch other people play it, like remembering it and then remembering like you writing down, like, because they gave the book out of the packet and you
it was a book, yes,
like writing like the notes and stuff down like in that book. And I was like, this is the most like intense like game I've ever seen. And then I played it. Like, you stupid.
I was like, it was hard. It was very confusing, right?
Yeah.
This is also, listeners, remember, this is before the internet exists. So like you get stuck in Myst, well, you're just stuck forever. And that's pretty much it, right? You're not really there's nothing to do now. You're just stuck for a very long time and you can't fix it and you'll never know what to do. And that's it. That's no guide for Myst, right? Back in the day. You got
hope for the best.
Yeah. So I don't exactly recall the whole entire plot of Myst, but that's what I remember.
That was more than I was anticipating, because when you said, "Oh yeah, the plot," I was like, "There was a plot to that game." I mean,
kind of.
So okay. Yeah, that helps that in moderation then. So okay. It was all
delivered to you through garbled book conversations with the guy.
Yeah, I remember that part, but I was like, "Why is this person talking to you?"
I remember the part where he's yelling about at the very beginning. He yells about like more. All you can hear is like more pages. He's like, "Bring more." pages. That's all you can hear. So you have to like go and then he'll tell you more. Yeah. It's just like, well, what do you mean? Where do I find what the heck is going on? Oh no.
Gotcha.
so it's very difficult to deal with, but you know, it's fine. It's just
Worry not.
Wow.
yeah. Well, my big excitement for the week is I finally went to the farmer's market. So that was exciting.
Hey. Ooh.
So there you go. That was fun. We finally made down there. We were like, hey, yeah, that thing we were talking about we should probably do for a long time. We should probably go do that.
Good.
It was all right. Got some sweet produce, right? Buying produce off of a random table for like $1.
Oh,
pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. Kind of into that. That was pretty cool.
Yes. It's great just to walk up with my favorite is whenever it's literally like still in the bed of a pickup truck.
Oh yeah.
And it's wonderful.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I think we may go back this week, see what's up, right? But so farmers market adventure, that was pretty exciting. Lots of pretty cool vegetables, right? There was actually a lot more than I thought there was going to be. Right? I didn't really know what to expect. There was a lot. It's not like super big, right? Because small town farmers market, whatever. But like, there was a pretty decent amount of stuff, and then there was also some other people like the random like sell other stuff people like, oh, here's my like beaded accessories, and then you're like,
craft people were there.
The craft people are there too, right? The craft people are there. There's a couple bakers there. That was kind of neat, right?
Sure.
But like, Susan wanted to get some bread, but we'd already bought bread for this week, so she's gonna go back next week and try to find some. Right? It was like So we went to the farmer's market after we went to the grocery store. That's the wrong way around to do this.
Yeah, that's not. It's missed something.
We didn't know. We didn't know what to expect. Right? It's
sure.
Fine. So that was cool. But then the excitement. We were walking to the car. We were with our friend, right? And we're standing there, and we're like, "Hey, we're staring at the entrance to the local history museum." And we're like, huh. That's also a place where we've said we need to go several times.
Yeah.
Let's go right now. Throw the produce in the car. Let's go. It is rad in there, right? It's really cool.
Nice. Okay, so this is what history museums mean a lot of different things. Like what was the purpose of this one?
So it's like for the town, right?
Oh, cool.
That's what it's all about. It's like all local town history in there. And I
have something for you guys. Keep talking. Shut up.
Okay. So like in the bottom is all like redone. It's like in an old historic building, like right on the main old downtown, in the old downtown buildings, right? Classic Midwest downtown brick building things. It's in there. And so the downstairs is all filled out. They have like a huge like research center where it's like all kinds of books and stuff and like historical documents and things from the town are just in this bookcase, and you can just look at them, which is kind of neat. And then they have like exhibits downstairs of like famous happenings, right? Like there's more detail about like the Trail of Tears stuff that was around here, right? There's more detail about like some important historical families and some like just historic landmarks, right? So, and then in the back they have a giant room. It feels giant. I don't know if it's actually giant, but they have a really big room just about like railroad stuff. Ooh. Right? So they have all these displays of railroad. They're building like a model train thing in there. That's cool. Apparently we were a very important railroad hub. We had a turntable.
What?
Ooh.
No way.
Yeah. I saw a picture. I was like, what? What?
What is this?
There's a big, huge steam turntable thing. I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
Sick.
That is
And there's a
cool.
bunch of like artifacts. They have a bunch of stuff from the railroad, right? Lanterns and jackets and all. It's all just tons of stuff. And the wall, they have all these real cool pictures. And some of them are like there's like Theodore Roosevelt at a stump stop, like in town. It's just there he is. There he is, right there. Truman and Dewey both here, also. Right.
Wow.
That's right. So that's kind of cool. Behind that, they had like a room that was like the history of like the school, right? So they had pictures of the old school, all the different schools throughout the years and all that stuff. And it was really cool. And then they just got like every volume ever printed of the local newspaper in these massive like wizard folio things, right? You think about like it's a bound thing. It's like the size of a newspaper, but it's like 6 inches thick, and they're just stacked because they just got them, and they're
How
just
did they
all
find those?
I don't know. I don't know if the paper had them. I don't know if like the paper donated them to the thing. The lady didn't say. Of course, Susan knows the lady that's in there, so she just said, "Oh, they're back there. You should go check them out."
Of course.
So they weren't really organized into anything yet because they literally just got them. So they're just on the back, on the floor, and they were stacked up across the entire wall.
Whoa!
Like chest height. It's huge. Like the earliest one I found was like 1929. It was insane.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was cool. And then they had another room that had like local military history, like people and like important people. And then they just had like random stuff. Like they had one little cabinet that was like about old restaurants that used to be in town. And like they had a whole thing about like the churches and stuff. And they had like old like directories and like pieces of the church, all that kind of stuff, right? Old like businesses, like the car dealership and the manufacturing stuff that was around, like just kind of all that kind of stuff. Like this is what was here and all that, you know. Like a lot of signage from old stores. They had one like frame display of like old like bags, right? From when you would go to the stores, like the bag that you would get. They just had them and they displayed them on the same.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was neat. And then there's like another room. Yes, this is like a huge building, right? Then the other one is like it's empty. It's mostly empty. It's like a hall. Like they use it for like it's like a banquet hall thing. There's like tables and stuff in there. You can like rent it out, I guess. I don't know. But on the wall, they have all these like big framed old pictures of like just all over town, like old Christmas parades and well, just like all kinds of stuff, right? There was one that was really cool. It was a horse and buggy in like a snowstorm, like right on downtown street. It was like 18, you know, like, it was like 1900 maybe, like very old stuff. It was really cool. And then they had a whole just soda counter in there.
Really?
Just the whole thing, everything. And he said it was in an old building somewhere else actually, and then it got pulled out and it sat in a barn for like a billion years, and then the family that had it, they like got it out and restored it, and then they like it's on loan from them. So it's like the counter, the seats behind the counter, everything is there, all the little station stuff. He said the only thing that the valve for the soda is broken. Other than that, the whole thing works.
Wow.
So they do amazing. Like things with like sometimes they serve ice cream on it sometimes for like events. Yeah, they just serve it. He's like, you can't use the soda water thing because the little valve thing in there, whatever is in there is apparently hyper specialized and hard to get. So everything else works. So that's really cool. Like it's just tons of like really cool, just like stuff. Right, just like little things from all over, and it was really cool. A lot of stuff Susan recognized. There's like old like random cash register from a business in there. And, you know, it was neat. But then my favorite part, there's an upstairs, right? So you go upstairs, they put an elevator in this building. You go upstairs, and the guy's like, yeah, the funding is on and off. And sometimes, so he's like, we kind of ran out of money for the remodel of the upstairs. The upstairs is all the old business offices, right?
Ooh.
That used to be in this building. And like,
Yes.
it's really cool. Like, there's a big hallway. And then on the side, there's just these doors with like the frosted glass windows on them,
Mm-hmm.
just all the way down the hallway. That's it.
Wow.
And it's like, and it's cool because it's not finished, right? They were started to do some renovations, and then they kind of ran out of money to like fix it, so they just put exhibits in there anyway. But it actually makes it cooler because there's like exposed brick and like broken plaster.
Oh,
and
okay.
like the the wood slats that have the plaster covered in them. It's all there exposed, and you can see it all. But all these doors are here. They have all these frosted glass on them, and one of them is like the dentist or doctor or whatever that used to be there. It's just like set up just like a doctor's room would have been back in that time.
It's just frozen, huh?
Yeah, they brought it back in because they said later he moved out, but they brought it back up here and put it all back in there. And it's like chair and the table with all the little stuff and stuff on the wall, and there's all kinds of little things everywhere. It's crazy.
That's neat.
Wow.
Yeah, that they kind of have that whole thing staged to be the way that it was at that time.
And one of them looks like they haven't said, they just have like houseware stuff in one of them, right? Just like the old stove and old ice box and a kitchen table, and just like things from that time period when this building was being used, right? But it's just really neat. And like, not all the rooms have stuff in them because they're still trying to get stuff in there, but like,
sure,
it's really neat. It's really cool. And then the last part upstairs is they have sort of rebuilt the old like theater that was in town, right? That building is now torn down, but like in the hallway they recreated the marquee sign, right? And then they have like on a very small scale like some of the old seats set up in this little room, like how they would have been in the old theater.
Oh, so you get a feel for that.
Yeah, so you can see they've been donate, like they're sponsored by people that paid to help refurbish and stuff, and so they got little plaques on them. But you can like sit in them and kind of like see what it would have been. They have a screen set up in there. They were just like playing a silent movie on the like a player, right? But it was kind of like that's the vibe it would have been like, right? The room is decorated like the theater was. Outside of that room, they have like another room with like a bunch of memorabilia that they found in there, like old movie posters, and the popcorn machine is in there, and just all kinds of stuff, right? It's really
cool.
It was really cool. Yeah. It was really neat. No, definitely a fun time. We spent like way too long in there, but it's so much cool stuff in there. It was like, oh yeah, gosh, look at this. So it was really cool. Tons of like really old railroad stuff. It was kind of weird to see like, oh, I know where this building is. Oh yeah, I see this. That was our big adventure for the week, was a local historical museum tour.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fun.
Like that. Aaron has sent us real quick. So this museum, real quick, Brandon, it sounds like, are they still putting it together? Like, what's the status of it, or has it been around for a while, or is it one where they're like renewed interest in it or anything?
Yeah, I think it was from the local historical society.
Okay.
Right. And they opened this building a few years ago, trying to like consolidate a bunch of stuff into a central location.
I see.
And there is like a local historical society with like members and stuff, and they like pay. That's where they do that, and they fundraise to do like the upkeep and stuff on the building. But part of the like downtown like restoration project, right? To like, because like one of the buildings down there, they're like they took off at some point probably in the 70s, they like concrete faced it, right? And so it's like all these brick buildings and then just like one big slab of slate gray. They peeled off the facing and are trying to like restore some of the facades of the building. And I think they in conjunction with the city are doing some of that stuff, right? So I think it's just kind of like a preservational thing, right? And so I think it's somewhat ongoing, right? And they're always probably looking for more stuff. And like, it sounded like they wanted to continue refurbishing the upstairs part of the building, even though I think it's really cool like it is. But like, they probably want it to be like more finished in a more time appropriate thing, right? But like, but so that I think it seems to be kind of an ongoing, because we talked to one of the guys too. So that kind of seems what he was talking about, like wanted to be an ongoing preservational situation, right?
Well, yeah, especially, I mean, I know museums are really important to have, especially local museums where people are trying to preserve the local history, right? Like that's an ongoing thing, as there's always going to be another aspect to a story. Somebody's cleaning out a barn, they get something out of the attic, their family gets something. Yeah. So it will never stop, but that's kind of what makes it cool. I mean, longevity of those things is really hard, right? To staff that for the next, whenever, but it's, that's really neat. That's really cool.
Yeah. So it was really fun. So we're probably going to go back. We might try to take Susan's mom in there because she'll just like looking at some of the stuff, it'd be cool. But I thought it was really neat. So I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. So Aaron, what is this thing you sent me?
Yeah, you should have.
So,
what is this?
So my town, my city has a little like history museum of its own as well. I have a feeling mine or ours is like weirdly smaller because it's in downtown of where we live, which is literally in walking distance. It's in this little bitty house that I guess was like one of the original parts of the town that's kind of been like updated over the years. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms maybe into it, and like it has like a lot of stuff. There's a city historical society that's been they have like meetings and stuff, and it's mostly put on by like elderly couples that are pretty wealthy with some like city assistance to kind of help keep the upkeep. There was no charge to get in, and it we walked in and there's these 2 little old ladies just sitting there.
That's
just chilling.
Exactly what ours was like.
And it was just like, oh, hello. And they were like kind of surprised that we were there, but it's like, are you guys open? And they're like, oh, sure. And like, what does it cost? Like, oh, nothing. Like, oh, okay. And so we walked around. There was the military part, history. They did have a cool room that was dedicated to like just the schools of the area, and so like that was kind of neat to see. But what I sent you is this weird story of this local farmer's like dog that got stuck while they're like out hunting or something, and it ended up on like the news. Like that was like one of the first times the city that I lived in was like televised or like on the radio. I can't remember what year it was. It's been a while since I looked into it. But they just talked about like, oh, the city of Owasso has finally been put on the map because of this incident. And so there's a statue of this dog that was actually like in the city to commemorate the dog that was trapped. The dog lived, but it was just like that's what put our city on the map first. And my city does have history with the Native Americans and all this other stuff, but it's like the one thing that put this town on the map first was this story of some guy's dog that got stuck. And it's a cute story, and you're reading it, and it's like that. Like, I don't know if you guys can zoom in on the probably poor quality
I've been
of the
reading
picture.
it through here a little bit,
but it's fascinating, isn't it? It's just like
crazy. Like, yeah. Chased a raccoon into the narrow cave, right?
Little Richard, 1959, put Owasso on the map, named for the popular rock and roll singer. Was a blue tick hound, and he and his owner were hunting east of the town around some old limestone caves on the hillside. Little Richard chased a raccoon one of the narrow caves where he slipped and his shoulders became wedged between some rocks. Attempts to rescue him failed. His story was quickly picked up in the area newspaper and then televised as people tried to get him loose. CBS, NBC, and ABC all sent crews to the city. Many different things were tried to get Little Richard loose, but nothing worked. Finally,
This next scene's my favorite, right?
finally, somebody suggested dynamite.
What?
A dynamite expert was flown in from Kansas City. People were asked to donate pillows to stuff in the cave around Little Richard to protect him from the dynamite. The dynamite worked, and Little Richard was finally freed after having been stuck in the cave for, which is crazy, 6 days. He spent 3 days in a veterinary hospital in Tulsa, and then came home in a limousine.
Obviously.
Little Richard became an honorary member of the Chamber of Commerce and received many other tributes. The Friskies Research Kennels, a division of Carnation Company of New York, installed a concrete canine drinking fountain in Rayola Park. This was the first Friskies Fidelity Award presented to a town. The fountain is now located on the south side of the Historical Museum, which we saw, and it was crazy. But yeah, nice. That was the thing that out of all the little knickknack and historical pieces, newspapers, radio stuff, whatever, like it was just like tucked away in a little corner of this little museum. And that's what drew us there. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And so we were fascinated by it. So yeah,
it's crazy how there's a law at work here. We have to name this law, but like it's this apparently newspapers and old television broadcasts function the same way as the internet. If there is a dog, people will watch it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a fundamental law of media, right? If there's a dog, especially if there's a dog in peril, right?
Boom. Dynamite.
Obviously.
Literally, apparently. That was the solution.
Yeah, because that's what you do in 1959 Oklahoma. Duh.
Yeah. I like to imagine there's some guys like, yeah, I got some dynamite in my back. I mean, what?
Anyway, let me call my
expert. Right? Yeah, expert.
Let me call my dynamite expert. Ring, ring. Why is your phone in your house ringing?
Anyway.
Huh.
Don't worry, I got a dynamite guy. So,
of course,
I guess that's a makeshift for all little history museums, nationwide. So,
yeah, that's neat.
Yeah,
there you go.
Well, interestingly, there's a connection between Aaron's story and some stories from my week this week.
Yeah. You weren't dynamiting any dog.
Specifically, dynamite. Because dynamite was what led to the discovery of that developed a museum that I went to this week. I went to the Missouri Institute of Science that was really founded after the River Bluff Cave was blown open 23 years ago, which is insane. So the River Bluff Cave in Springfield was discovered as they were trying to extend a road that I routinely drive on now. And while they were doing this, they set off some dynamite.
As you do, apparently.
As you do, because he had the blast. And they were like, what's this weird hole? And then they found the giant short-faced bear. They found claw marks from the North American lion. They found all sorts of things in this place, and have ended up developing. A lot of that now goes into the Missouri Institute of Science, now on the south side of town. And I drive place. I knew this place was there. It's been there for a long time. And finally this week, I was like, you know what? We're taking the kids and we're going. We're just going to go see this place. I have no idea what's in here.
Look at this accidental theme of the week. Look at this. Yes. Almost like we planned it.
I know. So I says to myself, we're going. We're just going to go. And this museum is wild. First off, they have Henry. Henry was not found in Missouri. He's found in Wyoming, but he is the world's largest Triceratops.
Okay.
They have his skeleton there. They've got about 58% of it. And they are doing this thing where they're combining 3D printed bones with the actual bones so that you can see what it looks like if it were complete.
Yeah.
But you can see like, oh, that's real, that's fake. And they'll even print the rest of a bone so you can see how
nice.
like we just have the femur, we just have the head of this bone and we don't have the whatever.
Yeah.
So you walk in and you're like, oh, I was not expecting a giant triceratops just staring at me. And then they're like, oh, would you like to go see the mammoth tusks? And would you like to go see the shark teeth? And would you like to go see this thing? But
yes, please.
Yes, I would.
Okay. Or the bathrooms. Okay, bathrooms. You say they're just bathrooms? No. One of them, all of the elements in the display case are naturally glow in the dark because of the minerals and stuff that are in there. The other one has fossilized poop in the display case.
Yes,
which is my favorite. Okay, this was amazing. Okay?
I didn't ask to see the bathroom at the local history museum. I'm gonna have to go back for sure now. We gotta go check
back and see what they have in there because these people
failed. I'm sorry, guys. I did not know
every square inch of this place. Okay, so then they actually have some displays of River Bluff Cave because again, the place is the actual location is secret. They don't want people going over there and defacing because it is an active research center for what's in there because it was completely untouched by humans. That was the other thing that made it so unique. So they have like, oh, look, here's the skull of the short-faced bear that they found, and here's this other thing that they found, and here's this. Oh, would you like to hold this femur and this stuff? And my favorite part about this though, and when we were standing there looking at this, I says to the kids, who do you think would like this? And they both turned and went, Uncle Brandon, because
wow, so enthusiastically
because they had the minerals in order: silica based, calcium based, everything. They had all like they had a whole periodic table with elements with minerals and rocks that were supposed to go to each one of those, and they were in display cases that if you went over and asked Butch, the very, very nice museum docent, or his wife, Joe, they would just bring them. They would just hand you samples from the display case.
Oh, yeah.
That you could go, and they were all arranged and like all sorts of varieties and all sorts of things, just like so many things. It was overwhelming. It was like a jeweler store worth of rocks and minerals, which was crazy, absolutely crazy to see that. And I was like, we definitely have to come back here because a lot of this is way over their heads right now. And like, how do I? So I'm like trying to explain all this stuff. They've got old mining equipment out there that they actually used up in Galena, where they mined.
Nice. Galena.
Turns out. And then he goes, oh, would you guys like to go look for some fossils? And we were like, yeah.
What is happening right now?
Absolutely. And he hands us all a little sandwich bag and goes, well, there's a trail. You hike up the trail, and up at the top of the hill, you'll see an open spot, and you can hunt for fossils there. And I was like, okay, cool. So one of the things about Missouri used to be a seabed. And so we have lots of lying around everywhere in our sedimentary rocks, right? Crinoids.
State fossil of Missouri.
And so
really
the way
so much
where the Missouri Institute is, you walk up on top of a road cut, and you can just go everywhere, and they're everywhere up there because they were everywhere. And so you're on top of a road cut looking for these, and you're just finding stuff. And he was like, yeah, if you find any other cool stuff, just let us know. You can take it with you. Just you keep whatever you can find up there.
Yeah.
So
we just want a picture of it,
Yeah, we spent like literally 45 minutes or an hour outside, just on top of this road cut, walking around, peeling stuff back, looking, digging, sifting. A lot of fun. So yeah, we got to go to the Missouri Science Institute, went back, showed us. And what was cool is we came back, and then he poured out what we had found, and then was able to go like, okay, here's what this is, here's the part of the crinoid, here's you can put this stuff together. That was so cool to actually come back and have him go, oh, this is neat what you found. And because we're just kind of grabbing stuff up there. I mean, it's not,
Yeah.
they're not complex organisms, so it wasn't that hard to do, but like,
It's only like 2 parts, but it's fine.
right. So, you can see stuff. And then just before we were leaving, she says, "Did I show you our diamond?" And I went,
"Excuse you?"
I went, "No, I did not know you had a diamond." And she said, "Well, let me share with this about you. Their previous, or one of their big benefactors and like people who spearheaded this, his name was Dr. Hoover, and he was like a geophysicist, and he was producing research papers into his 80s and like world renowned, traveled the world. And one of his favorite places to talk about was in Brazil and the geology of Brazil. And he had this theory because it was kind of weird, because you can go to streams and rivers in Brazil and pan for diamonds, like they used to pan for gold out in the West.
They still do pan for gold in Brazil.
Yes, yeah. And they were like, where are these coming from? We don't know. And he had a theory of what was happening here. He had a theory of the previous volcanic history of Brazil, that diamonds were actually being ejected in conglomerate, apparently.
Oh, wow.
And distributed all over these areas. And this was just a theory, but he presented it and did all the research for what that would look like, and like won awards for this and everything. But they just, how do you prove this? Like, how in the world do you prove this kind of thing? And so
you have to find conglomerate diamond.
You have to find it in conglomerate, right?
Yeah.
Well, he passes away. 1 week later, the guy who's leading the Missouri Institute now, who's actually the state geologist, is presenting down a thing in Brazil, and he's presenting on this topic. And this lady overhears him, and she's a vendor, or she's a local, she's from Brazil, and she's attending this conference about geology, whatever. And she goes, "Oh, well, I've got one of those." And he goes, "I'm sorry, what?" And she goes over and she grabs a picture of her phone, and she shows this picture of a conglomerate. And if you look in the very, very center of this, there is a 3 to 4 carat diamond buried in it.
Oh.
And she said, "I was wondering what this was, because we pulled this from the dig and we thought it was kind of weird." And so she donated it to the museum, and now it's here is proof of this theory, right? of a way that diamonds were distributed across Brazil. And it's just sitting there in the corner of this little place tucked away on the south side of town. And I was like, well, that's something.
So that makes sense in somewhat, because to get conglomerate is of course sedimentary, right? So it means that you would have to have it, the diamond would be trapped in sediment, and then, but since so much of South Brazil in particular is like floodplain, right, there would be massive erosion, and that stuff can travel for who knows how far. Right. So that makes sense as a vehicle for travel in somewhat, right? Especially with like volcanic activity in the Andes Mountains, right? Yeah. It's not unfeasible that something would wash all the way across the continent, because that happens now. So like,
yes. Yeah. So it was just hey, look, here's an example of this. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. That's pretty neat. That was fun. And then we were trying to figure out what else we were going to do. So the next day, we went to the Springfield Art Museum.
Hey,
I walked in.
I've been there in a long time.
I know. I walked in and the lady said, "First time?" I went, "Oh, I've been here before." And she went, "Oh, okay." And I went, 30 years ago. And she went, "Oh, things have probably changed."
Yeah. First time in a long time.
Let me talk to you, sir.
They still have the French fry thing outside.
They still do have the French fry thing.
Yeah, that's important.
Things that art museums don't like you joking about. So
French fries?
She was going through like, over here's this thing, do this thing. And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And so the items, you have 30-day loans on those when we're done, right? And she went, "Please do not take the items from the museum."
Wow.
And then
Yeah, see,
And
local history museums got jokes, right? Those people, they know what's up.
no, they're very, very serious people. And then they had like art kits out front that you could take for the kids to do for something. And we had them, and she goes, "Oh, I'll need those because they have things in them that we don't want taken into the museum." And I went, we can't add to the pieces in there. And she goes, she goes, "It's not a living collection." And I was like, fine, you're taking that.
I'm surprised Collin wasn't kicked out of this place.
I know.
Yeah, it sounds like he came close, right?
I only went for 2 jokes. I figured if it was for 3, yeah, they'd probably be like, security.
It's true.
So,
you would have had to stay in the parking lot.
Yeah, So they had several collections. They had the Voters' Choice Awards of you could vote on your favorite piece submitted by participants. But then they actually had 3 other exhibits from the permanent collection there. One of them was called like Breath, Mindfulness, and Distance. And basically they combed through all their archives and just brought everything out that had clouds in a painting, because it was basically like they want you to do like an exercise of indoor cloud spotting for like a stress relief kind of thing. So and they got to showcase different artists. Another one was about a lady.
Stratocumulus, right?
yeah, that kind of cloud spotting. And then they had another one about like it was a lady who lived in Arizona who did bronze sculptures of indigenous peoples and kind of like what that was. My favorite one was one on Renaissance manuscripts, where they actually have copies of manuscripts from the 13 through 1600s. And like woodcuts and the different colors one. Like they had one from they had a thing on display from like an original Latin Vulgate Bible, and different texts like that. So you could actually see and go, oh, wow, this one is all hand done. This is the wood block, and they actually had some original tools used in doing the wood block stuff. And it was also about all the history of bookmaking and things like that, and typesetting. They had an original, not an original, but like a very early version of typesetting there as well. That was fascinating. That was my absolute favorite part of the entire museum. Just because of how when we talk about, oh yeah, the printing press was important because it blah blah blah, but like being able to see of like, oh right, you couldn't do this on mass scale at all, and like here's an example of like the best technology was a literal wood block carved. That's not scalable, but printing press absolutely. So I really enjoyed that part of the museum very much. So recommend that. So there's another +1 to another museum. How about that?
Nice. You're there.
Yes.
This theme we have. How exciting.
I will say one of the coolest things I did in college, at Oklahoma State, they had in the library, they had archives, and they had some of like the 1400s like pocket Bibles or like the prayer books that were like that's all like the same design, and they took us down there a few times just to show us how they took care of them, and then we had to present to like one of like the freshman history classes. That's like, freshmen don't care, but to us it was really cool. It's like, this is really old. You're not old, you're babies, but like look at this, don't touch it, but like you're really like, this is old. And so the way that Collin like described it, it's like, oh, that's like really cool. So
that is cool.
But
that is cool.
Yeah. Highly recommend.
To finish off here, speaking of the Middle Ages,
yes,
there you go.
That we shall do.
There you go. So, just a quick round off through the next chapters of Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court here. These are more weird ones, right? Especially the first one. 10 is a bit odd, right? He's trying to tell us something again. I'm not entirely sure exactly what, but he does have a lot of thoughts here. Chapter 10 starts off with he's just going to go ahead and industrial revolution the Middle Ages. This is the plan. right? We're like, oh yes, we're just running telegraph wires and doing schools
Like,
and
what?
like
What is going on with the It's like he's really
it's very weird. He's also just okay, so at the end of last chapter he's like challenged to some sort of duel later, right?
Like that was,
and then he's not worried because the guy's going grailing and he'll be back soon. And so he's like, it could be several years. So now I'm going for it, right? The iron and steel missionaries of my future civilization. He's just sort of industrial revolutioning things here. He does have a very interesting point where he's talking about the schools and keeping and like doing, and he's like trying to stay away because he doesn't want the wrath of the church to fall upon him, right? But he does make an interesting point here. Again, I think this is probably some Twain peeking through, right? Where he says like the spiritual wants and instincts are as various in the human family as physical appetites, complexions, and features. So he's like, I don't care about that. Let them do whatever church they want. He's like, it would be easy to make everybody follow mine, but that's not the right thing to do. So we're not going to
Yes. Yes, I like it. I make everybody a Presbyterian without trouble, without being in front to
of
a
course.
law.
It's just the easiest thing to do, right? And then the rest of the chapter is just him kind of going on and on and on about all the things that he's going to do. Like there's newspapers starting up. Your boy Clarence is back. Gonna be a newspaper editor yet someday.
Yes.
And like this whole chapter is just like, what? What's happening?
He makes that switch when he's talking about like, I don't want a united church, mighty as conceivable, blah, blah, blah. And then he transitions right into how mines are royal property. And it is very much a, right, like, okay, now let's get down to actual business of like industrializing this place and making it.
It's just kind of sporadic.
I can't help but think that the only reason he really like truly wants to do this is because he's tired of not having modern conveniences for himself.
I really feel like that's accurate. Right.
Like I really feel like that's what he wants.
Yes, I feel like that is true too. Right. So we get through that chapter. It's kind of just weird. It's kind of whatever. And then 11 and 12, we hot up again. We're back. This book, the way that this book is written, right, so far, it reminds me a bit of Moby Dick, right? Where it's like story, whale anatomy, story, whale anatomy.
Yep.
Story, fishing history. You're like, what? And so this is just like, it's like story, Mark Twain talking to you about things and philosophizing at you. Story, Mark Twain talking to you again. And the pacing is odd. Like it splits it up into weird spots. But that's what it reminds me.
Yes.
But now in chapter 11, we get this like, he's gotta, been fooling around too much. You've got to make yourself worthy of this duel that you're going to have against this guy. So you got to go and prove yourself, right? You have to go on a quest as well. You have to go a-questing, right? And so that's what he's got to do. He's got to go a-questing. And so he gets his quest, right? To make him worthy of his fighting, which they'll surely find him any day. They're out looking for him now. So they're
right.
And it appears to have stolen a bit of questing from like Sir Galahad, right? I don't remember exactly, but like he's at the court and they're talking and a lady comes, right? And she's like, oh, help, we're trapped in a castle. And he's going on about like, how do you believe in these people? Nobody ever asks him anything. And how do you believe that this is true? Like, I don't understand what's going on here. This is ridiculous. They can't be trustworthy. This is too insane, right? Their castle full of like 40 women is besieged by giant cyclops or something. And you're like, he's just like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, would you believe it? The king and the whole round table were in raptures over this preposterous opportunity for adventure. Right?
Yeah. And he was like, nah, I'm good. Everyone's like, I want to go, pick me. And he's like, this is lame. I don't like it. And King Arthur's like, you go. He's like, dang it. I don't want to. So he spends a very long time like trying to get particulars out of this woman, right? And he's just so frustrated that she can't answer his questions. Like, what direction is it? What? How far is it? Oh, surely I don't know, for the path is windy. It's like, where did you come from?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
so he finally just gives in, and he's got to get set to go of adventuring, right? And now we come to a part that he's got to get suited for adventure, right? Anything you want to say about anything else before that? Did I miss anything else?
No, that's fine. Yeah, he's frustrated. I think people are kind of in awe of him or astonished by how he's acting and such, because again he's still a peculiarity because he's not from this time. So
yeah.
Anyway.
So now he's got to get adventure ready. Right now, here's where Mark Twain helps perpetuate historical inaccuracy. Not that this book is just the most historically accurate thing of all time ever, anyway. But he starts talking about the armor that he's going to wear, right? And he starts talking about how getting dressed is difficult. Okay. And like, is getting dressed in a suit of armor difficult? Yes.
Yes,
it is.
Yeah.
That's, the point, right? He's talking about the stuff. He's talking about chainmail and all these things. But like, the way that he's talking about the armor, right? He commits one of the faux pas. He says, "Oh, I can't get on my horse by myself."
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Right. Historically speaking, if a knight is unable to get on a horse himself, it is a useless endeavor. And why would you create armor thusly? Right? Right. Now, I have some theories about this. Aaron, I'm going to need your help here for this one, right? So what Twain is describing in here, except for the weird extra chainmail that keeps going on about, is clearly tournament armor, right? And so I think that some of the reason that we have this idea that medieval armor is like so unwieldy and so terrible is because we have a lot of survivorship bias of tournament armor sets. Aaron, thoughts?
Yeah, because like trying to think of any major battle that happened during this time period that most of the armor would have been like collected or like absolutely destroyed. But the only armor that would be like perpetually left over in good condition were, the backup armor to all these knights. So yeah, I see that. Yeah.
And I think, knights are already like rich people. So like we have more of their stuff anyway, because like they're nobles, right? Knights are nobles. That's another thing you can't forget here, right? It's not like not random farmer. He doesn't have armor. Right?
Yeah.
It's not, because this is like expensive stuff. But like the way he's talking about things and like how he's buckling things, and the fact that he says I have to buckle my helmet to my breastplate. Now, that may be slightly wrong here, but this feels tournament armor to me, right? When you talk about like big helms like that, like these are tournament things. And so here's my thought that yes, tournament armor, a knight cannot get on the horse himself, because tournament armor is specifically over-engineered so that you don't become dead in a tournament. Right. So it's different than your normal run-of-the-mill battlefield armor. Like it is thicker, it is bigger, it is heavier, because you don't need mobility to joust. You just need to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, keeping you alive.
So I think because we have like a lot of this like really expensive like tournament armor preserved, right? That we get this idea from like that has persisted into like movies and stuff that like armor is just like unwieldy and you can't walk around in it. But of course, if you couldn't walk around in it, why would you wear it to fight a war in? It doesn't really make any sense to me.
Well, again, yeah, that is the that I think yeah, it's well because there's a lot more utilitarian stuff too around it as well of the ability to move in the armor is important and move from one thing to another. I think that and also in tournaments it's much more showy.
Yeah, true.
And it's much more it's meant to be seen by people.
Yeah. So that was just my thought while I was reading this. I was like, this is weird. I don't know what's going on here. It's very strange, but there you go. So that he's set off for his journey here. He's ready to go. And then our last chapter is just him journeying and talking about how terribly uncomfortable it is to ride around in this armor.
Yeah, I mean,
fair.
Right? Like the title is called Slow Torture, so I think that really tells you a lot. And I don't know if this chapter was really so much more as meant to be an allegory about these kind of stories, and about how
it is
laborious the tale of the venture is meant to be slow torture to the listener.
Yeah, because again, famously Twain not a big fan of King Arthur stories, right?
Exactly.
And it's definitely you could definitely see here. But yeah, he's talking about like how just inefficient it is to ride around everywhere in full armor. How uncomfortable, and I do like where he's talking about the itching thing, where he's like, "Yeah, everyone's experienced this." You're like, "Yep, I relate to that 100%." Like it is itchy, and you're like, "Oh, it's not that bad." And then the second you can't scratch it, it's the most terrible thing of all time. Right. And he's like, when he's talking about getting the fly goes into his helmet and it can't fly out. And he's like, this is the worst thing of all time. This is absolutely the worst thing ever.
And I love everything is bothering him. Like this fact of like he would hang a man that would make a suit of armor without any pockets in it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh man.
This part did make me think, right, have a little connection here, because I thought he goes on and on and on about he can't get his handkerchief. Made me think of Bilbo, right?
Yeah, where he had his handkerchief in his pockets, or in his helmet, and some other
he couldn't
things.
get it out.
Yes,
I just thought about Bilbo, like my handkerchief. No.
Yeah,
that's the first thing I thought of. We started whining about his handkerchief. I was like, oh, sounds like Bilbo. Look at that.
Yes. Picturing the handkerchief, it was a bitter and aggravating to have the salt sweat keep trickling down into my eyes, and I couldn't get at it.
Yeah.
Seems like, and then he's like, seems like a little thing on paper, but it was not a little thing at all. It was the most real kind of misery. And then you start to understand that it's really, our buddy here is really not made for this stuff.
No. And then he also is annoyed by this lady that he's with because she just like won't stop talking to him, and he's just like, can you please just not?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she did help him with the helmet, so he should be nice to her about that. But she just talks. She was a perfect blatherskite, actually, is what he says here. So she just like she like talks and talks and talks and talks, but like doesn't say anything, right? And he's just like, shush, stop it. So he's in anguish. He's uncomfortable. He's too hot. He got a fly on his nose. He can't itch, and this person won't stop chattering in his ear. And he's not feeling very adventurous currently. That's where we are.
Ugh, such. Again, the writing on this, it calls her a blatherskite. I mean, for jaw, talk, jabber, just as good as she could be. Hadn't minded her meal that morning. Anyways, it's just again, he's he's really having a rough go of this.
He's already tired of adventuring. He would much rather be industrializing and doing weird things than apparently somehow setting a telegraph cable in 6th century England. That's a thing.
A lot of yada 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 here of like real quick. I do need to say that the one-liners that Hank throws out here are just fantastic. The last line of this chapter: "Take a rest, child. The way you're using up all the domestic air, the kingdom will have to go importing it by tomorrow, and it's low enough treasury without that."
Oh, good. I'm gonna have to use that. I'm gonna have to adapt that, right? Somehow, because that's a good one. But you're using up all the air.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah. So it's very. I'm still unsure as to where exactly Hank is going to end up, because I don't really see. I don't know what's going to happen with him.
Yeah, I'm not really sensing just a ton of character development here.
No,
it's not really setting the stage for that. He doesn't really see the person that's going to like learn a lesson in any way, shape, or form.
No, absolutely not. So I'm kind of waiting him to like get his just desserts here, basically, or something, or maybe he'll come away completely unscathed and just ends up back in modern time.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we know he ends up in modern time somehow, because he's relaying this story to Mark Twain. That's who our narrator is. It's him.
Yes, he is. He's telling him. Yeah, we've got to figure out what is going on. So somehow.
Yeah, right now, even though we're not super far into the book, but like, not really getting good, strong. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, I don't see a resolution. Right? Like, I don't really.
Yeah,
kind of hard to see what's going on here. So that remains to be seen. We'll see how it goes. But there we go.
I like it. This is going well so far.
But I have some my Mark Twain quote of the week.
Oh, yes.
I have some advice for Hank from Mr. Mark Twain himself. A man who carries a cat by the tail learns something he can learn in no other way.
Yeah.
There you go.
Fair enough.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
go. Okay. I mean,
it's
true.
So
okay,
maybe that will spur his character on. Who knows?
Okay. Well, and then I have a make do haiku due. So I do need to present that.
All right.
Thusly.
Okay.
Okay. Laden thick with facts, silent wisdom on each shelf, worlds within their grasp.
Oh, I like it. That's a good one.
Get your encyclopedias while they last, folks.
There you go.
That's what I'm saying,
I like it.
Huzzah. So, yes. Good.
There you go.
Very good.
I wrote one too. Do you want me to say it now or save it for next week?
No, go, because we need to get caught up. Because last week's up. So.
All right. So here we go. Here's mine then.
Okay.
The 2-for-1 special. Let's see. Where did my notes app go? Oh, no. Okay, there it is. Found it.
Maybe
Found
it.
Found it. Found it. Here you go. Ready?
Yep.
Tennis uniform. Collared versatility. Set free from the court. We had a much too long conversation about polo shirts last week.
I don't know.
So that's where they
at all. Okay. It was just the exact right amount.
Context.
Yeah, some context there.
Did rock a polo today as well. So
I did. I learned today that a little fun factoid for here. Rene Lacoste is widely credited with the invention of the polo shirt.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Did not know that.
Well, that would.
Turns out from what I read briefly on the internet today when I was thinking about this, is that apparently before 1927 or whenever, tennis whites consisted of a starched white long sleeve button up shirt with the sleeves rolled up and flannel pants. And he was like, no, this sucks and it's hot.
Yeah.
And so he made a short sleeve version with a collar. And then they started putting the little crocodile on there because that was his nickname. Because he was so vicious on the court. He was a tennis player too, apparently. So
Yes.
there you go.
1933.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
There you go.
Well.
So it was originally a tennis shirt and then later rebranded by Ralph Lauren because polo players started wearing them too.
Wow.
And
The
now-
Oxford collar also was a polo invention. I learned that because they needed collared shirts, but they wanted the collars to stay down, so they add the little button to them.
Well,
Your garment history for today.
yeah, I
learned
think this is another
Did not know this. All right.
I didn't know this until like 3 hours ago. So that's
Hey,
That's time to learn something.
yeah, all right.
Love it. Perfect. Okay, well, with that nugget of knowledge, I can sleep easy tonight. That's
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. No, we'll have to see what else we learn next time.
I like it.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.